Alright guys, getting ready for the Terlingua workshop. The Alternative School of Building is on October 9th through the 22nd. There's 2 places left, but I believe they're probably spoken for now. We'll be having another workshop in the spring, so look out for that. But I just want to make a quick video and introduce you to an oasis in the desert to show you what's possible and just how you can work with natural cycles to create a beautiful, beautiful abundance that you can't even imagine, even in the desert. So I hope you enjoy this video, and if you're coming to the workshop, I'll see you there. And I can't wait to get started. It's going to be an exciting year with quite a few really good people showing up. So y'all have a great evening, and I'll see you soon. I wanted to show you guys something really amazing. In the middle of the desert, in a place that normally doesn't have bushes any higher than a person, a place that many people would say is death, we have a forest. This is a place that most people don't even know exist. Even the locals will tell you, you can't grow trees, you can't grow a garden, you can't do anything. But even though this wasn't applied as permaculture, still the principles were applied. And even though most of the species in here are for benefits of insects and birds, it would be entirely possible to have planted this entire system in edible trees, shrubs, vines, and maybe even a few root crops or bean crops like marama. I wish that you could grasp the scale of this whole thing, how big these trees are, because the camera would just never do justice to how big these are. I mean, this is a forest in the desert where there's not supposed to be a forest. And so it just shows that if you do the right things, you can transform the desert. You know, we've got a lot of greenery here and everything's well mulched, and at this point, because of the maturity and age of the system, everything is absolutely self-mulching and self-sustaining at this point. And it's really just spectacular to take a walk through here. I don't want to be panning the camera side to side constantly, because it just kind of makes you motion sick and it gets ridiculous when you're trying to watch a video like that. But hopefully from the camera you can see just how amazing this little forested area is. And there have been a few places like this in the deserts that are just never really documented. This one is really no exception to that, but you know, at one point this center pond is filled each year, and it just infiltrates water into the land here and creates a great deal of water or moisture in the soil, which perpetuates all these dry land species throughout the year. And it's really just spectacular how beautiful and forested this place is. 110 outside, and it's so comfortable in here because of the extra moisture and the vegetation. It just gets really dense in some areas, and one of the things that makes this such a nice sitting area during the summer is the fact that we've got this nice little water feature down here And it's really, from the evaporation that comes off this, on the hottest day that I've been here, this has been absolutely a beautiful, comfortable area. And I would even add that this would be well suited for an aquaponics system in addition to this pond, so you could actually grow even more food by having an active element in the area. So I hope this does justice to this area, because it's very difficult to appreciate this enough through the camera, the fact that this closing canopy of forest exists in a desert that normally looks barren. And even though I could continue walking through the forest and around, I would say that I'm running out of sunlight and I've got to get back down the mountain, which, by the way, putting something like this up high in the mountains is almost ridiculous considering how dry it is here in the desert. And yet, here it is. All the locals would say this isn't possible. You're talking crazy talk. And, they don't even know this place exists. So I just wanted to share this with you guys, because it's truly amazing. There's another old pond in this direction. They've had some issues with this pond. They just kind of dug a hole and cemented the edges, and it cracked, and it got them through many, many years in the establishment of this little forest until now. And now we have a nice new big water tank. I don't know how many gallons that holds, but that is truly impressive. So, as people choose to be in the drylands, if you were to choose a place not in the mountains, but perhaps near a big arroyo, near places where there's floodouts, it would be entirely possible to amplify this whole situation and make things happen easier and faster, because you wouldn't be up in the dry, rocky tops. Now, what drives this place? This is the primary driver to make all of this happen. Water. Not pumped water, not rain catchment that's been constructed by man, but because we have hard runoff, solid rock surfaces up high, and all of that water comes down beside this property through an arroyo, which is really just a ditch that rainwater runs off from. And most people want to make rainwater go away, especially agencies, but this has been very cleverly put to use, and this arroyo is filled up with a lot of silt. It's amazing how active the desert is. But this arroyo, with just a couple tenths of an inch of rain coming down all at once, will run with raging water, and that raging water flows into this space where they stacked a bunch of rock and then plastered it up with cement and put a level seal spillway on it, and then backed it up with some more rock and cement so that it doesn't cause erosion. And when that water comes through here, this whole area completely floods with water. And when it floods, the magic happens here because of that little check dam. The water flows over the top of this embankment and right into the pond. So From here, all the trees were irrigated and started. They were mulched to get established. And ultimately, it took some years, of course, to start trees. But here it is. There's examples where Jeff Lawton was in Arizona and he was walking on water because of check dams put in Arroyo. And they fill up with silt and they hold water all year long, and a well screen can draw water off for your needs and for your irrigation. So, you know, even in the desert, life can be abundant, and you can choose for it to look like this: dry, barren, and lifeless. Or you can do the right things and partner with nature, and you can have a forest in the desert. And I would encourage you to design any such location or constructed food forest intentionally, making every tree produce a food product. Like mesquite, for example. Mesquite produces a food product, but also produces a lot of leaf litter and organic matter for the soil, as well as being a very hardy establishment tree. And then you can come back and plant other things. But anyway, I better end this video now because I could just go on and on. But even if you don't live in the dry lands, something like this just amplifies what's possible whenever you begin to work with nature and the water cycles